What's up, guys? Average Kiwi Guy here. How y'all doing? So I just got back from Blade Runner 2049. Just to let you guys know, like, where I stand with Blade Runner and all that. I am like a casual fan. I'm a casual fan. I like the film. I've watched it plenty of times. It's not one of my like, God, I love this. I'm not in the fandom and all the rest of it for it. But I like it. I do. I like the whole setting of it and all the rest of it. So I probably would let some stuff pass that maybe like diehard fans won't, or maybe diehard fans will pick up and I don't. So I'm sorry if I don't quite fit what you guys were hoping that I would be with Blade Runner, but I do enjoy the Blade Runner film. So I was very interested in how this one plays out and how it links to the first one and if it's gonna be as good, which we will get into. But first up, I'm gonna try and make the first part of this film as spoiler free as I can. I'm sorry if I do spoil something, but I don't do it intentionally. I'll try and stick to like trailer stuff and stuff that we know, and then give my overall impression of how the film went and all the rest of it. And then we'll go into spoiler section at the end, okay? For those of you who have watched it. Sweet. So, how does this film stack up? Like, we'll get into that right away. How does it stack up with the first film? Because that's what everyone wants to know, right? Everyone wants to know that. I would say that this film isn't as good as the first. It's not. Straight up. Like, I think because sequels, I should say, it's always hard to, recapture that magic. Even if it's been like it's been a long time since we had a Blade Runner film. So, it's tough to capture that magic again. And I don't think that it stacks up to the first one. That's not to say that it's a bad film. Like, I enjoyed myself. I really did like it. And, I didn't feel like I was a waste of my time or anything like that. It's just, it's not as good as the first one, which, a lot of, sequels suffer from. But I feel like it's a worthy, it's worthy to be in the, franchise. It's worthy to have Blade Runner in the title. So I feel like it's worthy of your time if you're interested in this stuff. So for me, the stuff that they really nailed, like really got down, was just the visual stuff is fantastic. Like, it's bang on Blade Runner. Like, it's back in that world. It's a little bit shinier. I would say it's a little bit shinier, but it is in the future. Like, it's 30 years into the future. And, so stuff's going to be a little bit more modern. Stuff's going to be a little bit more shiny and all that. But it still has that, dark and grungy and atmospheric, and the lighting and all that. They do a really good stuff with lighting in this film. There's a lot of dark shadows and like light and spotlights and stuff, and how lights turn on. They nailed that part, and they really understood how the original did that. Like, that was what I was looking for a lot out of this film, was can they reestablish that atmospheric, sort of, feeling that you got from the first one. And yeah, it's still got that dark grunginess, but the city, it's always raining and it's gloomy, but it has this life to it, and it has the advertisements and all that. By the way, they put some damn good effort into those. Like, obviously we've seen Atari and all that in the first one, and there was like this ballerina one that I remember, and it had like property of the Soviet Union and all that on it. So it was like going back in the past but into the future, because the original Blade Runner was done off knowledge of the 80s. So Atari and the Soviet Union and all that, they all, they were all there. They never thought they were going away. So 2019, like, of course they'll be there. This is what they are. And, of course they have to continue that on for this one, even though we know they don't exist anymore, or they aren't as big anymore. So I felt that was kind of cool. That was a nice little touch. And I'm glad they continued that on and didn't try to throw in new things. Like, they had Sony everywhere. There's big product placement for Sony and all that. But they dished out the money for this film. So, they're going to slap it on there. Especially when it's, like, easy advertising. So, yeah, okay. Okay, it fits. It fits. At least it's not awkwardly done. And, everything about this sort of, it all fits. It all fits. Like, you still have the Tyrell buildings there, but there are bigger buildings, especially the Wallace Corporation buildings and all that, like building and all that. everything feels like it's just gotten bigger and gone up over the top of what the original one had. So, I mean, that's like anything, in any human, like, 30 years from now, like we'll have buildings twice the size of what we got now. So that's what we do. So it all fits. It all fits. And, the look and the music. The music is bang on, like, Blade Runner. Like, there was moments where I felt like the music sort of overshadowed the actual, dialogue that was happening. I was like, man, I wish the music was kind of a little toned down here just so I can hear what's going on properly. But they do a very good job. They do a very good job with, all the, they put the hype of the music in the right places. It's all the right type of music. Like, it's got the electronic, sort of high-pitched, low, bassy stuff. Like, it's all over the place, and it's really, really good. It's bang on Blade Runner music. This is all the stuff they do really, really well. And, they should be praised for it. They did a really good job. I think story-wise, it's okay. It's okay. It definitely connects you to the original. And like I said, with the 2022, Blackout one, that's helpful as well because it helps connects the two and lets you understand some of the stuff that they're talking about with, like, blackouts and, how Wallace Corp kind of came to power and all that. It's very similar with it's very similar with the original Blade Runner, where they're following another Blade Runner. Obviously, this one is Officer K, and he gets set on this case and he has to figure it all out. And it's a case that would blow every social thing up here. So I'm not going to spoil it because I don't want to ruin it for you guys that want to watch it. But it's it's a big thing. It's a big thing, and it all relates to the first one in a way. I'll just say it has stuff to do with Deckard and all that. And as we've seen in the trailer, like, Deckard's around. The thing is, though, the movie is very long. It feels very long, and it feels like it lags a little bit, just a bit. It has its high points. Like, there's some stuff that's really, really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But there were some points where you were like, okay, we can move on to the next big thing now, please. Like, can we, like, we've been going on this for a while now. Can we just get to that point? And also, like, with two sort of big actors that I think a lot of people are kind of excited for to, see a bit in this. First off, we'll start with Dave Bautista. He's in it at the start, and that's about it. There really isn't anything else for him. Like, he's had his own, like, short little scenes that you can watch. Like, it sort of tells his story and all that, and you learn more about what he's about, through the rest of the movie. But it's just, he's just there. Like, if you're hoping to see more of him throughout this, you'd be a little bit disappointed. You'd be a little bit disappointed. He's really only in the very first part of the film. That's it. And then obviously Harrison Ford, and, like, Deckard. Like, what role is he gonna play and all the rest of it? And for me, I was kind of expecting something similar to what he did with Star Wars, right? With Han Solo. He was a major player in Force Awakens, and he played major roles and had major scenes in this. For me, Deckard in this one was really only used as a story, reasons for the story for what the story was doing, and it was, it was sort of like he was just in a large cameo. It wasn't a big thing, and he's near, like, the last quarter of the film. That's when he starts to show up, and that's it. And I felt like, man, I wish he played a bigger role in this. I really wish he played a bigger role. And, like, overall, story-wise, he has a massive role, but you just don't have him there. You don't have him there. And it's like, man, I really wish we had Harrison Ford and wish we had Deckard, doing some cool stuff, with Kay, with this, it would just make it a little bit better. And it was kind of disappointing that he wasn't. He was there, and he played some pivotal roles, but it wasn't like Han Solo, like, it It wasn't like, Deckard really stepped up and we saw Deckard again. It wasn't. It was so like, yeah, it's old Deckard. He's in the movie. There you go. Story stuff surrounding him. But that was really it. It was like, oh, okay. But the movie definitely centered around K. K was the thing. And okay, they wanted a new Blade Runner. But they didn't want to, either Harrison Ford didn't want it, or they didn't want to focus on Harrison Ford with Deckard. Alright. Okay. It's just a little disappointing there. I thought they had a good opportunity there to do some really cool stuff. That just didn't happen. But we got to see Harrison Ford punching Ryan Gosling in the face, like, a lot. That was fun. So yeah. That was a bit of a disappointing thing. And I think for me, that's where it kind of, where it goes is that the characters, I don't think were, like, you didn't connect with them as much. Like, you didn't, like, really, like, God, I really hope that Kay survives this. For obvious reasons, he will. Like, I don't want to spoil Kay too much, because he does have some spoilery stuff attached to him. Like, I kind of wish they went another way with him. I don't know. Or at least made it a bit of a mystery. And, you just didn't get attached to these characters as much as you did with, Deckard, and what you did, with Rachel and, Tyrell, and, in the Nexus 6. Like, you just didn't gravitate to them as much. Like, you have Kay, who's, he's not young Harrison Ford, right? He's not him. He's not this, sarcastic, gruff, sort of roguelike character. He's not that way. He's not. He's more of a loner. He's more of a, outsider type character. And he's a little bit gloomy. He's just not as interesting as what Deckard was. And then you got, like, his love interest, which is Joy. And Joy is something different. She's different. I won't spoil her, because, again, if you haven't, seen the movie, you won't know. But she's a different relationship. We'll go there. And she brings about some interesting things that they do with him. And but it all fits into the Blade Runner universe. So it's okay. But again, it's not like she was really, really important. She's just like this little side character. And then you go with the bad guys. Really, it was only, you had Jared Leto, who was playing Wallace, or Neander Wallace. He's basically Tyrell in this one, right? That's essentially the role he plays. But more of a, I am an evil, like, slave master type guy. Like, that was really what he was. And then it's more his lackey, Love, Luv, I think, like the way they spell it. And she's really just, like, a little unhinged. But she's not, like, the funny and weird unhinged that the Nexus 6 were. She's just kind of, like, just a bitch. That's really what it is. And she just, like, loves going around and killing people. That's really kind of what it is. So it's like, okay. So yeah, so the characters just don't grab you in this one. They don't. And I think that's why it brings it down. Along with kind of the length of the story. But the story itself, like, it has its twists and has its turns, and it really does, and it plays with you a little bit, and, like, you think you have a character down, but it's not, and, like, yeah. So they do some good stuff with that, but yeah, it just doesn't really play out the way that you want it to. So yeah, so, like, if you're looking for, a movie in the Blade Runner, like, type universe and style, with the Blade Runner things and the look and the aesthetic and all the rest of it, with a decent story and characters that are decent but not as good as the first ones, basically a sequel, it's a sequel to the original Blade Runner, then this is the movie that you were expecting. This is the movie that you wanted. But if you wanted something that recaptured that magic, recaptured that, just that excitement that you saw when you first got to watch Blade Runner, this is not it. This is not it. This is not what you expect. This is not what you kind of wanted. Again, like it didn't feel like the replicants were special in any way. Like they because they were mass produced again, it was like, oh, okay. It wasn't, didn't make it feel so special when they were fighting them. And yeah, like I said, with the characters, just not as they didn't grab you as much as the first ones. And story wise, solid story, had your twists and turns. But for me, did it have a satisfying ending? I honestly think that they're setting up to maybe do some sequels. I think they may be setting up. It is a bit open-ended. It is a little bit open-ended. I would say that. It's open-ended. They could easily do some more. But they'd have to do some character stuff. I'll leave it at that. So, is it worth you guys going and seeing? Yeah, if you're interested in this stuff, if you're interested in Blade Runner, if you're interested in like futuristic-y, sci-fi like stories and stuff, flying cars, obviously like the replicants and all that. If that all appeals to you, then yeah. And I think, visually and the music and stuff, it all adds up to be a really, really cool movie. It's a cool movie. But is it like one of those movies that just like grabs you and just, this is like, I'm going to watch the shit out of this film when it comes out on Blu-ray and all that? No. It's not that. I felt like it was well directed. It had a lot of good stuff. The actors did well with what they had. There's a lot of things that they did right. There's just some stuff that did it wrong that kind of dragged it down. And it might have been a better film if they had just picked it up in certain places, which is, maybe using Harrison Ford a little bit more. Maybe, because replicants now are so mass produced, they're not as special anymore. So, yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing that got me. So yeah, well worth going and seeing if you're interested in this stuff. Is it a must see? Like if you like brand new, I think if you're brand new to the series, you might like it. Like this might be your introduction to it. Because I don't know how many people watch Blade Runner. I really don't. Like there's probably an entire generation that has not seen Blade Runner. So this could be a good way to get them into watching the first one. But for us that have watched the first one, it's not on par with it. It's not on par. But worthy of being a sequel to it. It's worthy of being a successor to it. But yeah. So, well worth going watching. So we're going to go into the spoiler section now. I'm sorry if this seems like a little bit light on the non-spoilery stuff. I can't tell you guys certain things because it's very spoiler heavy. And I don't want to ruin it for you if you want to go and watch it. So, it's worth going and seeing if you're interested in this stuff, but I can't tell you too much more. Alright. So we're going to go ahead into the spoiler section now. Just give you guys a big heads up. Spoiler section is incoming. Please, just if you are planning on going and seeing this and you don't want to be spoiled, probably end the video now. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Yeah, just if you don't want to be spoiled, I'd probably turn it off now. Okay? So, spoiler section incoming right now. So, I'm going to spoil it right now. K is a replicant. Straight up replicant. And they did not even hide that shit. They didn't hide that shit right from the start. And I was sort of like, man, you could have made this a little bit of a mystery, You could have let Dave Bautista just beat on him a little bit more. Kind of like, what Deckard had to go through with, his. Now it's sort of like, oh, he's a replicant and he can just straight up beat up anyone he wants. And he's like a badass Terminator-like dude. And I was like, oh, okay, well it kind of takes his badassery sort of down a little bit. He's got help. And I was like, oh, that's a little lame. But when they started adding in the twist with him, they're like, yo, this guy could be like the first naturally born replicant. son of Deckard and Rachel. Maybe. I was like, okay. We're making him interesting again. I'm liking it. I'm digging this. And all that. And then they're like, oh yeah, no, you're not. He had a daughter. Like, really? You thought you were his son? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, right. You're just a normal little replicant. I was like, oh. Like, is he not special in any way? Was he not, like, used to hide her? Or maybe he was, her memories were implanted in him so that he would eventually go and find Deckard and bring Deckard back into the fold? Like, he could have done that. No, he was just some poor dude that got, he got Deckard's daughter's memories, because she's the memory maker. I was like, oh, that's a little disappointing. That's a little disappointing. I would have hoped that they would have made him a little more important, like at least somewhat important, not this sort of throwaway, officer, which he is now, because I'm assuming he's dead. Like, he's just laying dead on those stairs while Deckard's inside with his daughter. Like, that I think he's dead. I'm pretty sure he's dead. But for me, like I said, I do think they may do some more movies for this. I wouldn't surprise, like, in a couple of years, we might get another Blade Runner movie. Would not be surprised. With someone else. Don't think Harrison Ford will be in it. I'd say, be like, oh yeah, Deckard and his daughter, they're gone off-world. They're gone now. They ain't hanging around here. And we got, like, the uprising of the replicants and all that. But, yeah. So, yeah. So, it was a nice twist. And it was a nice twist and then a nice turn after that. Like, it was like, oh, damn. Like, we're really going at that. But it was a little, yeah. Okay. The whole, Wallace and, Love basically trying to find, like, Deckard's kid so that replicants could reproduce. Like, that was going to be the big thing, because basically for him, he was like, well, I can only build so many replicants. I can only create so many of them. If they could create them, like, reproduce themselves, that means they're basically making more and more of them. They'll steadily grow in number by themselves. I won't have to do anything after that. I might just have to add to the population or the genetic pool, and that'll be it. Like, that's what I'll do. That way, it's a self-sustaining slave race, essentially. This is what he wants. He's like, yo, I want to conquer more. I want to go out and get more planets. I want to have more off-world, colonies and all that. I need more replicants to do it. I need them to reproduce. This is what thing. And Love just will do anything to please Wallace, so that's why they were doing it. And then them sort of making like it was Tyrell's like big last hurrah. Like, it's a way of it was a way of them linking the two together. It was the biggest way for them to linking the two together and making it so, Deckard was important and Rachel was important. So, yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. Like, it's a natural progression, I guess. Like, especially if they want to have this replicant uprising, like make them their own unique sort of species or race or whatever you want to call it. Like, this is, kind of where they wanted to go. So, yeah, okay, that's a natural progression. I'll take that. So the whole Deckard's daughter, like being the memory master, essentially, she's the one who creates the memory implants for the, for the replicants. I was shocked that Deckard actually survived this film. I'm shocked he survived this film, because I swore that Harrison Ford was only doing this so that he could kill off all his major characters. I honestly thought that's what he was doing, because he already did Han Solo, he's got Indy along the way, and now he had Deckard. I was like, okay, he's already killed off Han. He's gonna kill off Deckard, and then he'll kill off Indy later on, and that will be how Harrison will like finish his acting career. He'd be like, yep, peace out, I'm done. All my characters are dead. You're welcome. That would be it. I honestly thought he was doing that, but he's not. Ryan Gosling's character ended up dying. So, oh, I guess okay. Like it was okay. It was okay ending. I just thought like it was very open ended for what I thought it would be. Like I said, I do think they're gonna come back for a sequel, like 5 years later, or just they'll just keep adding dates onto this thing. I don't know what they'll do. Maybe like 2 years, depending on how many years have passed since the last one. I don't know, but it's just where I was surprised how open ended it was. So now we should get into Kay and Joy. So Joy being essentially a hologram. Essentially, she's a hologram. She's a hologram girlfriend. Taking the whole virtual girlfriend thing to a brand new level. Like this is like it fits into the Blade Runner film. Blade Runner sort of universe, right? But it's like, damn, like this is going deep. Kay's a bit of a loner. He's not, people don't like him because they know he's first of all, they know he's a replicant, and they know he's a Blade Runner. So they're like, yo, just stay away from him. He's not worth going near. So he has a hologram girlfriend, and he's very attached to her, very attached, and she is very attached to him. It's a weird AI thing. I think she's definitely programmed to like him, right? She's programmed to say whatever she wants and say, whatever, whatever he wants to hear. That's what she's designed for. And she's made by Wallace Corp as well. And they have a very interesting scene. And it's kind of like the R-rated part of the review here. It basically takes cosplay sex to the brand new level. It really did. Basically, you take the real girl, who ends up being part of this replicant uprising, and you basically use her as the real body while the virtual girl phases over the top of her, and he only sees the virtual girl. It was like looking at it going, okay, this is weird. It was weird, and it was a different type of relationship. It was kind of strange. Like, he was very, very attached to her, and like when she crushed, like when Love crushed her like little stick thing that kept, a little memory stick. It crushed Kay. It crushed Kay. It was like she literally killed her. I was like, damn, okay. It was an interesting love. It was an interesting love interest. It was a different choice, and it only really works in Blade Runner. It only really works in Blade Runner. But yeah, no, it was funny. It was strange and weird. The CGI, I think it was a CGI. I'm pretty sure that was of Rachel. When Deckard's being captured by Wallace, and he's sitting in his like little like pond chamber thing. And, he basically has recreated a replicant purely based off Rachel. And he basically, she comes up, and everyone wants to do this now. Everyone wants to do this CGI recreation, faces and stuff. And it works sometimes. Like, for me, like, a lot of people rip Rogue One for Tarkin. Like, they like, oh, his face looks so bad and all the rest of it. I thought Tarkin looked okay. It was Princess Leia to me that looked a little like she looked a little too perfect. Like it wasn't quite right. Like something's wrong. Something's wrong. This was kind of the same. You're like there were times where you're like, oh, okay, maybe, but then there were times like, no, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. And typical Dick is like, nah, her hand. Like he was like emotional, then he's like, no, her eyes were green, and they're like, oh, okay, boom, just dead. Okay, so yeah, that was a little interesting. That was interesting. It's like yet another CGI, another CGI face. But yeah, like I said, it's a cool movie. It's a cool movie. It's worth going to watch if you're into this stuff. If you're into this futuristic sci-fi stuff, like it's it's interesting and it's cool, but if you were hoping to like recapture that magic of the first recapture the magic of the first one, I just don't think it gets there. I don't think it gets there. But I had fun with it, and I had a good time. So take that what you will. Okay? Alright. Alright, guys, that's it for us. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace. Bye.